real conversations, real solutions, real success. Success is my religion.
What happened?
We gotta start that mug all over. I didn't even have a.
Oh, that's fine. We'll clean it up. We'll clean it up.
Test. All right, what's the topic again? I didn't have the mic on.
Oh,
it was muted.
Oh, that's not good. It's being successful and not seeing the steps to be successful. See how I clean that up? So for me, instantly, I'll say cars because I'm fascinated with cars. So I got a grand down. First person to have a car in my house. I lived with my mom, my sister at the time. And I was going to work, the opposite of, my father figure at the time. So sacrifice, I got a cash car. It was breaking down. It was too much cash I was putting in the car. It was already paid off. So we got another car. I drove that around for a little bit. Used to be P. Franklin's. Now it's Jeremy Franklin's.
P. Franklin's.
Yeah, that's a throwback for it.
Nepotism, right?
Something. It didn't involve me at all. But yeah, so I rode around for that, styling and profiling. They told me to, drive it to a certain amount of mileage, and I did. Had a windshield crack, but I was already working at a dealership, so I know how that stuff works. Say, hey man, you got a crack on your windshield? Yeah, you'll fix it for less than what I could fix it for. You're a dealership. Calm down. And then upgraded. Got a truck. Got my mom a car. And we started out like that. So success was I was not catching a bus. I used to catch the bus everywhere. Didn't matter. Now obviously, you can go out and have parties and stuff, bus stops.
Oh yeah.
Or you just, I had buddies that had cars. But I finally got a car. It was a good freedom. I didn't have to, scheme and be like, who can I call so I can do this
and get somewhere? And we didn't have Ubers back then.
No Ubers.
So you gotta recognize what we was dealing with back then.
It was buses, feet, bike. If you want to skate.
And car. And somebody with a car.
Somebody with a car. That was your best friend. So that instance, that was a success because I wanted to provide my mom with transportation so she wouldn't have to catch the bus and didn't feel bad about bothering me for rides because it didn't matter to me. My mom used to go to, it was Hypermart back then, but Walmart. Be up there 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Get grocery shopping. I get called around 8 or 9 o'clock because I was still asleep. That's when I could sleep in, fellas. I can't sleep in now. And I would just get up, get dressed, and go pick her up and get the groceries and come home. So that's a success story for me.
Yeah, and you're talking about we're talking about the failure on the way to success.
Yeah.
Are you really a failure or are you a success? And sometimes success doesn't look like success in the person's eyes that is experiencing it, but people on the outside or later on when you realize, oh, I worked my way up to this level of success.
Yeah.
And I am on that same trajectory. I don't feel like I'm a success, but I am a success in the eyes of people that are coming behind me. I should be, and it doesn't matter if you think I'm a success or not, but what I know from study and the story that you told about the progression is the ultimate success. You always should be progressing in your life, and progressing to what is the question.
Yeah, that is the question. But what I'm basically saying is it took time, it took money, it took patience, and there was no escalator. So it wasn't like it was a smooth ride. I
Yeah.
was walking.
And
Paseo steps.
most people ain't gonna get no escalator, are they?
They're not unless they fall into some money. But,
right. And usually we don't fall into money.
no.
What are the ways we can get money? The lottery, the boat, is that what we call it?
Yeah.
The casino. Like
Yeah.
you not really gonna get money that way. So it's a constant progression. And I be trying to tell my students this all the time, and I'm like, you gotta put in the work right now. You gotta put in the effort now while you're young, because the benefits are going to be so much greater in the end, and you won't have to come back and reinvent the habit that you should have had coming out of high school or coming out of college or coming out of trade school or whatever. But you didn't work on it. You didn't work on being there every day. No. Like you took days off for no reason. Not because there was a snow day, not because there was something else going on that out of your control, but you just chose not to go that day because you didn't feel like it, or you had a mental whatever, and nobody cares when you get into the real world. Nobody cares, because the way they care is if you can do the job. And are you here every day when you're supposed to be here every day?
You got to execute.
You got to execute.
For me, as you were saying, being a young guy, yeah, I didn't choose the path that I should have chose. But since I was young, I didn't know what path I was supposed to choose anyway. It kind of chose me. I do have lazy days, not snow days or stuff like that. Like
I get snow days.
Well, I'm not that lucky. I have snow days if I take them off, but yeah, it's just a mindset. It's a determination, and that is what is feasible for people these days. Is the mindset, determination, and also technology. The things that we grew up not having, these people have. So I feel like it's almost like a hand-me-out, but it's not. You still have to do the work. It's just that it's a little bit more upgraded. Like you climbing the steps, you'll have like a view.
You on an escalator because you got the access to all of the things.
Are you on the airport thing where you just get there and just, I don't want to walk.
Yeah, you just slide across.
Yeah,
they pull you.
Everywhere,
but that comes from and a young person has to know that they are getting the benefits from other people's work, and that's where I see the entitlement from wealthy and poor kids. Just the same. They got the same entitlement mentality that all across the board. So it doesn't matter where you come from. Young people have to realize that somebody sacrificed, worked, no matter white, black, whatever. Somebody sacrificed, worked to get you to this point, so where you can move on and move the family forward. So if you're not moving the family forward, then what are you doing? You moved your family forward by being the first to have a car, and then taking on the responsibility to get people places and do your own thing at the same time. Unfortunately, that's a more of a reality to a lot of people coming from our backgrounds than anybody else. Like, we don't have people pouring into us and making sure we're good and wanting to further us so we can have it a little bit easier. Knowingly put it easier.
I feel that in that same regard, if you're doing something for like a purpose, like I had a purpose. I didn't really want my mom to be like on bus stops at night and stuff with my little sister. Um, it's not always something that you do for a reward. Sometimes it's something to do for an easement. Like when my mom didn't have a car and she worked for a school district too. Um, she'd be gone by 6 o'clock in the morning before I even think about waking up for the bus stop. Wouldn't come home till 6 at night. Okay.
Because she had to ride the bus. It took
Well,
time to get on the bus, or what?
well, not in the latter part of our lives. Like when I was in high school, she could walk to school because we was on 73rd and Agnes. The school was on like 71st and Askew. So you could walk. I learned a lot about the neighborhood just walking because I didn't have a car. Plus, basketball goals was around, so you had Satchel Paige. Was that Satchel Paige?
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I would go get off, get home by 3:30. Before I got a job at McDonald's, I would just go play basketball at Satchel Paige, and play basketball with my friends. And we we had this discussion. So, um, had I said set the routine and continue to do what I was doing, I would probably not have a broken shot. But I don't know what I look like playing basketball. I probably don't want to experience that.
He up here talking about he wanted to go shoot with me, and I'm like, can you shoot? Because I ain't never seen you play no basketball,
Well,
and I ain't never seen you heard you talk about playing basketball. So
I wasn't. I didn't do it. I didn't reach the goals that you reached.
I'm just saying, but I know about you. I'm just saying, when we was having a conversation at lunch.
Well, I played basketball when I was a young
kid. Okay. See, I've been doing the same shooting routine for 15, what is it, 20 years now.
Yeah, and that's impressive.
20 years. I try to teach other people how to do this, and the crazy part about it is that, like, I was like, hey, everybody needs to go up under the basket and shoot their shots under the basket first. 19 years later, Steph Curry shows some of his warm up. He's like, yeah, I go under the basket and shoot all of these form shots before I even move back out of it. And I was like, I've been doing this for 19 years already.
But see, I would say that since you've been doing that, and then you see a professional go through the same rigmarole, it's not for nothing.
No, but I didn't know though at the time. That's the crazy thing about it for me is I didn't know at the time that I was doing something correctly, like moving up, like the failure or whatever. But I was in there by myself shooting and doing the same routine. But I understood the results it gave me. Like
the
I was more
accurate.
I was more accurate. I could shoot with more accuracy, and my shooting percentage went up, and I was more comfortable doing this over and over and over again. Every time I would step in the gym, I would want to shoot my shots before I even started playing and running up and down the court. Like I used to when I was do not first starting, but like when I was doing all the group fitness classes that I used to do, I used to shoot on Sundays. I would do 2 classes in the morning, go eat lunch because I had lunch or I had free lunch at the Avila. Go eat brunch there, go take a little nap, go to another 2 classes in the afternoon. Then I would shoot shots for an hour. Classes is an hour apiece, so that's already 4 hours. And then I would shoot basket for an hour, or depending on when our basketball game was, because we had Sunday night basketball games.
Yeah,
I would shoot my shots, and then I would go play in the basketball game. A basketball game an hour, so I was doing 5-6 hours every Sunday. And then on Monday I would go to work, obviously, and then I would go do 3 more like workout classes on Monday, and then Tuesday same thing, 3, and then I think I had Wednesday off, or
Yeah,
Wednesday I had
yeah.
something.
Wednesday was your off day.
No, you don't know. I got it written down in there somewhere. You don't know what my
I used to go to the
he
gym.
trying to.
I used to go to the gym.
But this was before I met you.
I know.
Because I've been going to the gym for 15
I was
years.
there in spirit.
I've been going to the gym for 15 years.
I was there in spirit, young fella. I was there. Well, yeah, that is just a fraction of success, and it. I say this to say that regardless of who's watching you and what people feel is success, you have to feel it yourself.
Mm.
And at the time, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm getting back and forth to work. I mean, we're all basically adults in the house by that time, except for my sister. I wish, thinking about that, I would have did more. And
Did more with your life?
no, I mean, like, did more, you know, as far as a son supporting his mom and sister.
But is that your role? Is that the role you had to play?
It wasn't a role that I had to play. It was a role that I chose to play. I don't like people and them, suffering. Or I wouldn't say suffering, but struggling. Because if I can help you in any kind of way, that's what I'm trying to do. Now, I'm not. Some people I know do it for the accolades. I don't do it for the accolades. I do it so you can kind of ease up on the struggle. Because I've struggled. I'm still struggling now. In certain instances,
Right.
It doesn't have an age limit, but how you feel towards certain people are just in general can promote you wanting to do something about it.
Right. But then that goes into a long-term success is what I'm saying. What I'm trying to get at is that we have to look at the different roles that we have to play because of circumstances.
Yeah.
And it may slow down your success even more or reaching your fullest potential, because we need to really define what success is, and success is always equated to money nowadays, and I want to reframe that definition.
No,
it's not, but that's what people associate with. Oh, he's successful. She's successful.
Society.
Society says that it's money, but for us, it has to be success. Has to be the reaching of our fullest potential. So, in our cases, like we've had to do head of household things at a younger age for not necessarily the family that we create, but the family that we have. And a lot of black people especially have to do that. There's a statistic that says most black people don't get the success that they truly deserve because they're constantly having to give back to the family. They get the success, they get the money, they get everything, but they still have to give back instead of getting pushed forward and using that money to help have a family and develop that family and have kids. So that's what I'm saying about the dynamics. So we have to look at our dynamics in our circumstances and look at it as like it's ultimately going to help us. It makes us grow up faster, but it's not right at the same time. Like,
but I mean, think about. I guess if you didn't have that structure to where you did along, like I say this, growing up, going to school, anything, it was always girls mature faster than guys. And I don't know if that's still true. I don't know if they still teach it or not. But that's how I was growing up. Women were more mature. Women were
mature faster.
And for certain women in my life, they almost didn't have an option not to.
Right.
So for me, even if I was like mildly rich, I guess, me helping somebody that I know needs help, it wouldn't make me feel bad. It wouldn't lessen my success because I'm still gonna try and teeter totter. But I don't mind getting off the highway sometimes to go to your house and be
and that's that holds us back from reaching our
it
fullest potential too. It's not a bad thing by any means, but it like I said, it also holds us back from reaching our fullest potential because it takes us so much longer to get into even uh, managerial positions. In college, I remember reading a article about it takes black men until they're like 45 to get into managerial positions and stuff. You see what I'm saying? So back then that was what was happening. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna be like, okay, we gotta go do this, do that. And now it's 40 probably 40,
because
but
it shaved some years off.
It shaved some years off
because of technology and people before us being incredible people to set forth, the path that we can be on. So
and people holding those people back. We gotta we gotta address that in the room too. We black people were intentionally held back from doing jobs and moving up in jobs for a long period of time, and still are to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So when we look at it, it's like, yeah, I can. What do I need to do to get into these positions? So that's what I looked at when I read the article. I'm like, okay, I'm in college. There wasn't many routes as there is now to hustle or make money differently.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, you can make money, and this is kind of pivoting, but you can make money, but are you really successful just because you make money? Because that's where I go with that definition of money. Yeah, you can seem successful. It helps a lot, but are you reaching your fullest potential? Because a kid can get out of high school and make a whole bunch of money, but still act like that kid.
Yeah. Well, and that goes with maturity. That goes with who you surround yourself with. Now, for me, I didn't have a lot of male role models. I had my uncles and my cousins, and then people that I met along the way in my lifetime that I kind of hitched on to, and they hitched on to me. But not everybody has those type of opportunities. Like I say, for right now, there's not this generation doesn't have. I'll dumb it down. They don't have like grandpas and grandpas to where they're like, hey, we want to see you succeed. Now they already have their children, so you're their children's children, and they still want you to be successful. What I see a lot of is, the grandpa and the grandpa, if they're still together or not, because you got to factor that in now too. It's terrible. And then you have the children that they made, and then their set of cousins. They might be on the same thing as the young person, because they still feel like, well, I didn't get to experience that what I wanted
and
to.
They want to do
experience.
It. Yeah.
See, I say that's a double-edged sword, because you could do that, but you don't have to involve yourself in everything. Like I see people my age that should be like Unc, and we don't do that, getting in fist fights.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I had a dude last night in the Uber. He was like, hopefully I don't have to. It was his birthday. I picked up him and his wife up for her girlfriend, whatever it was, up from the spa, right?
Oh, cool.
And she gets in the car and was like, well, don't tell them where we're going. And I was like, oh, you going to Guitars and Cadillacs? Why would I not tell? She was like, well, it's his birthday, and I was trying to keep it a secret. I was like, but I'm an Uber driver. I have to say, ask you where you going to verify where you going.
Yeah. Make sure
And
you got the right people in the car.
well, I knew it was the right people, but like I have to verify that
Yeah.
I'm going to the correct place at the same time. So I was like, all right, I got to give myself a pass at least. But she was like, yeah, I'm trying not to say where we were going, but you just told them now. And I was like, oh, you should have said that. And she was like, I did say that. And I was like, oh, you should have texted that. You should have texted. And then, a few minutes later, they were talking about where they was going, and he was like, I hope I don't have to punch anybody in the face. And I was like, how
Wow,
many
that's
times did you
extreme.
punch, or what was the last time you punched somebody in the face? He was like, well, it hasn't happened this week. I was
This week. See, that's what I'm talking
but
about.
he was playing around. I don't know. I don't know his life or anything like
Yeah.
that. But he was playing around, and but he's grown. He was our age. Like they had kids and stuff. Like
Yeah.
they. I was like, you punching people in the face?
Well, I mean, some abilities don't ever leave. Like you, I hate
That's
to say
not
it, but
ability, though. That's not ability.
no, it's a mindset. Like if you already with that mindset, like
That you gonna have to
that
punch
you got
somebody.
to punch somebody,
That's what I was
that's
getting
what he
at.
was doing.
That's
So
what
I
I
was
was
just like,
getting
wow.
at.
Maybe in my 20s, I was like, oh, I hope I don't have to mess anybody up. But man, if I go out now and I feel like there's going to be a confrontation, I'm usually staying home. Because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want the repercussions of what I did today. I don't want to feel them tomorrow.
Nah.
So,
or be in jail tomorrow. That's
we,
really what's gonna
yeah,
get. And we got to start thinking about the things that we do. Like I'm wearing my Moval stuff today because one of the ladies that hired me to do the lady that hired me to do my graduate assistant position, she passed away 3 years ago. In I think it was like November 2022, right? And I was like, dang, I wanted to reach out to that person and see how they were doing, and I just didn't. I didn't know how to reach out to that person. I didn't know where they were or anything.
Yeah.
But like I talk to students all the time and young people all the time about going to college and doing the things of just going to college specifically. I enjoyed myself, and I met a lot of different people along the way, and I just don't see a lot of people meeting that many people just going straight to work. You'll go straight to work, and you'll be around the same people all the time. You may have one or two people, but then you don't even mess with them like that because you just at work. And like you don't necessarily get opportunities to venture out once you start having to pay bills and you want to do some things and go on trips and raise a family, whatever that is. But this lady, she was one of the people that inspired me through the relationship that we built over the 2 years that I was a graduate assistant. She had me over to the house and met her kids and no good boyfriend. Everybody knew he wasn't no good for it, but she still, ran the office, and like I did everything in that graduate assistant position. Like I had the smallest office. I shared with one of my good friends that was working there part time, and I became the secretary when the secretary left because we had to still get the scholarship offers out. Just to if you get scholarship offers out, you get them back, so people come to the school or whatever. But when we didn't have a person to do that, like I stepped up and did it. she's also the one that told me about the people that didn't think that I was going to be a good candidate for the graduate assistant position. And she didn't tell me till 7 years after I had already, was done with my graduate assistant position.
Yeah.
But it's those people like along the way, along your journey that make the journey worth it. And we're not gonna be here forever.
No, not unfortunately.
Unfortunately, we're not
No,
gonna
we're
be
not.
here forever. And we gotta understand that. And I think I understood that more because like I dealt with death at a young age. Like one of my friends got unalived in a drive by and in fourth grade.
Wow.
And I remember all of the controversy surrounding that, and the news cameras at the funeral, and the ad hoc group against crime
Oh
was
man,
involved.
Alvin Brooks.
Yeah, Alvin Brooks. Yeah.
Man, we
But
grew up on Albert Brooks.
yeah,
He was everywhere in the hood.
everywhere, and
Any kind of dispute, he was there.
yeah, I mean, and to each his own. He tried to do his part, but I remember all of that from fourth grade.
Yeah.
And then like that's a traumatic experience, and
Well, it's something that impacted your life.
yeah, and people don't realize that I went through something like that, and it wasn't directly towards me, but like we was like best friends. Like
Yeah.
we would go to the little pool in the summertime because it was like across the street from where we live. Go to the pool and do things, and I often think about like what if it would have been like the love and basketball type thing. We grew up together because it was a girl. We grew up together and end up getting married or whatever.
That would be a wonderful story.
It would have been a wonderful story, but it got cut short.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but it happens, and I'm saying all that to say appreciate the people in your lives and keep in touch with as many people as you can.
Yeah,
because people. I got friends that parents, both of them passed away. My aunt passed away my senior year of high school. I had my it happened to be my last game, and she never got to see me play. So it was like an emotional. Her funeral was on the last day or the day of my last game. I go. This tell you how much I like to keep my routine, work, and do what I'm supposed to, because on the game days you have to be at school at least half of the time. So I even went to school. I did everything. Like my mom was gonna pick me up and take me to the funeral, but she the principal at the time, he was like, "What are you doing here? Just go home." Like, and I just called my mom and she picked me up and went home. And I still got to play in the game because.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's commitment. That's routine. That's something that is instilled in you to this day. As we talked at over breakfast about you shooting hoops and doing what you do for like over 20 years. And I was like, huh. It got me to thinking about the routines I've had, because I've had them. The only routine that I actually stuck with was probably just going to work because it was paying me. Now, me playing basketball on the side and hurting myself and doing all that, that was pure enjoyment, and I did with people I liked. So if I were to get back into that habit, it would probably be with people that I associate with, like you, and hopefully you won't embarrass me too much. And it would just be fun because I'm just doing it to relax and enjoy life, just period. I went to the mall last night for something simple, and I realized that one of my young friends might be correct. I might just have to do it online.
I just because you don't like to do it or shop online. I don't like to shop online either, but
I don't.
But I do shop online.
I've had great experiences with it, but I work in retail and I work with people that buy stuff online. Now, do they do it correctly? Probably not. Is it my fault? No, it is not. But I have to uphold the policy. Sometimes people, tell me a long-hearted story, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. I still have to do this.
Yeah.
I still feel bad, but I still have to do it, and I just don't like. I don't like the inconvenience, like
Returning stuff.
returning. Oh, this. I thought it was gonna be this. It's not. Like I saw some shoes. I don't know if they were the actual shoes, but the color on my phone versus the color in real life was very drastic. Very. Like, you got a red thing. I like red. Bright red.
But he a Raiders fan. It's all good.
Yeah,
Keep going.
it is all
Keep
good.
Keep going.
We're coming back. Anyway, but I like a certain amount of red, and I like it to be a certain color. Like, I've come up the concoction in my head that when I buy clothes, I make sure I get some red. I used to do like red, black, and white. Well, I can't wear white now as I'm older because when I wear it out, it gets stained. That sucks.
Cause you old and you dropping stuff on yourself.
Not even
I go to a happy hour with this one of the teachers, and she no matter what, she drops something on her shirt.
that's aggravating to me. Cause it could be like my favorite shirt, and I'd be like,
I can't even wear this.
I just got this. Now it's a house shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, you styling like you have some friends come over like, damn, you dressed to the nines. No, and I'd be like, look, I can't wear this out.
It's all black.
Yeah,
all black.
It's all black. So, you gotta. I say this to say that even me set my ways. You have to sometimes adapt because whether you adapt or not, the world is adapting. The world is changing every so much.
It ain't adapting. It's moving. And it's moving without you.
It's moving without
you
me.
have to adapt to the world. And that's why I think that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because I need to adapt to the world. I know I need to be I need to be out there in this space because there's more people that I can affect than the ones that I just in the school, right?
Yeah.
The work with in the school.
You're spreading your word.
Right. And that's why we need to strive to reach our fullest potential and not just reach for the money. The money's gonna come if you're reaching your fullest potential. If you're not trying to reach your fullest potential, you have to be having a goal for getting the money and what you're going to do with the money. You know what I mean? And there's multiple ways to get the money, but doing what you're meant to do with the skills that you have and the skills that you've developed and the experiences that you have is going to be more of an impact to you, your family, the people around you, and the world if you go ahead and do all the things that you were supposed to do. Showing up every day, doing the little stuff every single day,
just being present,
and working hard without the mentality of, oh, I just want to go to here. I only want to be a paralegal and not a actual lawyer. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you shooting too low.
You mean you capping yourself off?
Yeah, you capping yourself off, and that cap is too low. So let me take this a little bit further. Is that like, if you cap yourself off at a low level, and you already students be telling me the world is bad, the world is this, the world. I'm like, okay, well, you capped yourself off as being a paralegal, and you didn't want to go be a lawyer. Imagine the world. What's it going to be like when you have a limited amount of skills and a small skill set?
Yeah.
And a skill set that everybody else can get. And now that skill set is is not even it's a requirement
Yeah.
before you even, you have to have
it's
something.
now a step.
It's a step now.
Yeah.
Now, back in the day, you could have got that, but
Yeah.
but you
Mr.
should.
Brown is doing good. He's down there at the law office just balling out.
Right.
He's not a lawyer.
He's not a lawyer. He ain't balling out, and he is working hard.
Oh, yeah.
And not that lawyers don't work hard either, but like the paralegal is going to work hard for a hourly pay and maybe salary. I don't know, depending on what law firm you work with. But is that the environment you want to be in? And take it even further, how are you going to be able to help change the world? You're just going to be a participant in the world. You're not going to be you're still going to be complaining. You're still going to be complaining about how the world's bad, but you didn't do anything in your young years to to set yourself up to make at least a change in your world, your life, your surroundings, your immediate environment.
Yeah.
And I don't have any uh sympathy. I have empathy. That's why I'm doing this stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I don't have that sympathy to just say, oh, I'm sorry, and we can do this, and the world can change and do that. No,
those days are over with.
Those days been over with. I like and the again is the past, right?
Yeah.
And our past ain't great.
No,
I don't want to go back to the past.
Nothing special.
I say the future's always better for black people.
Yeah.
It's always been better for black people.
Well, I'll say this as far as a mentality.
And we gotta kind of wrap this up too.
When you was growing up, and if you paid attention to the lotto, you know how it gets super big.
Yeah.
And then like if you're around a certain amount of people, you guys will bounce ideas. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I used to be that person, but now I think about if I come into a large amount of money, how am I gonna help my family? So now I'm thinking about even $100,000. You put half of that or 75% of that, I want to put in a trust, and then put my family members like as the board. Basically like what white people do with Rothschild and all that stuff. They have their money trickle down generations, and it's not everlasting because you can mess it up. A generation can mess it up because I've seen that too. There was the other people, I forgot what it was, but I'll remember and bring it back up. But I just want to do that. I want people around me to be comfortable. I've always had that on my heart. So the things I did for my family that probably was good or bad, I had a reason behind it to stop them from stressing and struggling. So I think that if I came across some money, I would probably put it in something like that where everybody has access to it. Because you can't take it with you. So I'm thinking about that. There's lots of people that, die millionaires, billionaires. The government gets their money. It's inevitable. Especially for me, I don't have children. So it would go to my cousins.
And you ain't a millionaire. So,
and I'm not a millionaire. Not nowhere near. But
so
if I was, I'm just saying for future reference.
I know.
If I was, I would take care of the people. It wouldn't be like, because I know if you gave certain people, at least in my life, money, it would be like, oh, they would feel a certain type of way. Instead of seeing the goodness of it all, you're like, oh, why are you doing this? What do you want to get back from this? Nothing. I can't take it with me. If you have that mentality, then you're able to help people. Like I say all the time, I try and help young people now, depending on my tone and my delivery, I can be called a hater. Oh, you're hating. How am I hating? I'm taking time out to talk to you about something I don't even need to talk to you about because you should have a structure in your well being. At least somebody like an uncle.
At least somebody told you, is what I tell people.
Yeah,
At least somebody told you.
somebody takes the time to
If
tell you
somebody
something.
tell you and you don't use the information, then that's on you. That's not on the person that gave you the information.
Well, no, it's not the it. No,
And how
that
they
that
deliver it is how they delivered it. Whether you are mature enough to handle it or not, because I don't think the young people are that mature to handle the criticism that we give. The criticism that we give to them is because we saw what they didn't have,
yeah
and now they have it, and then they don't use it to their full.
yeah.
To, they
Turn the key and turn that on.
and and then push forward, push more, take more risk, take more chances, and do things that are necessary for you to be. If oh, that's what I was gonna say earlier. Like you got to take your past, your history, your relatives, your ancestors, all of that stuff that was negative or whatever, and the work that they did and the work that they did to get you to this spot to where you have some type of opportunity, whether it was the civil rights movement or coming up on the Mayflower, all of that stuff, you
Yeah,
need to, you still need to take it and move it on
yeah.
further.
You
You need
got to
to,
move it on down the track.
but it stops with you if you only put limitations on what you can do because you don't want to go to school for longer than 2 years. Like this is what I I don't want to go to school for longer than 2 years. Most people live a normal life. A normal life is a steady grind up
Yeah,
towards uh, financial stability and financial success and those different types of things. But you have to be okay with it, and it's not average is something different. If you live in an average life, that means you're not reaching your fullest potential.
no.
If you're living a normal life, it means that you're using all your skills, all your abilities to take care of you and the people that are around you,
Yeah,
and that's just fine. And most people do that. Like we like to talk about the billionaires, millionaires, and everybody above the 100,000 you know,
yeah,
but not a lot of people get to that point. So, how do we get to that point is the real question, and how do we continuously build on what we have? Because what you have is all you need in the next step. Because if you're not using all you have, then you're not even trying to get to the next step, because
yeah,
if you get to the next step and you ain't used the stuff that you have, then it's going to be pointless. But it's the progression, it's the failure, it's the trying new things, it's the risk that we take. I tell students all the time, like it's not about uh, getting an A. Like
yeah.
teachers will give you extra credit and they'll let you redo a test and stuff nowadays, and I'm like, what if there's no redo? Like you were supposed to give your all at the beginning.
Yeah.
You were supposed to give your all the first time.
That
You're
was your
you're lean,
moment.
yeah, but we're giving you an out, and you're leaning on that out instead of putting in the effort at the beginning, which you know what the effort is. You just don't want to do it because you're in your feelings, and somebody told you that. You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I mean,
we,
there's a lot of retention when it comes to life. Unfortunately, now that wasn't when I was coming up. Like you fail a test, you fail a test. Sometimes that means that you have to repeat a grade.
yeah.
But now, no,
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 they
you'd be
will
like,
just push
oh,
you
well,
on.
we'll just go to summer school and you'll be fine, or you go to
and
night
and
school.
the progress is the education, the knowledge. I would say mostly like knowledge. Are you getting the knowledge? Are you building the basic skills? I have students in high school say, "Oh, they're not teaching me what I need to learn or to be successful," and I'm like, If you knew what you needed to know to be successful, then you would already be successful, right?
That's why
But
you're in school.
that's why you're in school, to work on the. You're here to work on these little things, these showing up on time, turning in assignments, doing some studying, like so you can move on to the next step. Which I don't care what that step is after high school,
Yeah.
but it has to be a progressive step
Yeah.
in the gain of knowledge, education, and skill set. And if you don't do that, then you're not going to reach your fullest potential. You're not going to help change the world. You're going to be sitting there complaining about how they do this, they do that, and they're not doing this you can't do nothing about it because you 40 years old and you ain't got nothing to show for it.
Well, I mean, I'd say this to say that, depending on how you look at school, your education, because you start out, what is it? Kindergarten is 5, right? Kindergarten was 5 for me.
5 years old.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So from 5 to almost 18, that's your job. Okay, so you're already learning a craft, and they're teaching you what you're going to learn. Because when you graduate high school, that's when your life begins. Now, whether you go to college or not, that's on you. I didn't do that. But regardless, had I known, or had I had the mentality that I have now, I would have tried harder in school. I would have applied a little bit more, and then I might be a different CJ.
And if somebody if a teacher or a adult lets you get by with not giving you constructive criticism and holding you to a standard and holding you, if somebody is in your life that is not doing that, they do not want you to be successful. Mm-mm. They do not want. I see teachers all the time. I'm like, I have conversations with the teachers, and they say the same thing as I do, but then they let the students get away with stuff. I'm like, you have to hold the standard. If that student gets an F, you give them an F because they have to know. But if I don't give you the F and I let you think that you can get away with this stuff, I don't have your best interest at hand. I am setting you up for
setting up failure.
Yeah, and that's the failure that you don't want. And I told this to one of my students. And you'll see it on the Eat with Us podcast. I told her, like, we have to have organized failure, and organized failure is practice.
Yeah,
we have to have practice. So maybe you're not learning exactly what you need to learn in high school to be successful, but that high school is just a step. It's a general studies. It's a general skill sets that you can work on before you even get out. And we're not using it properly. We're not using it as we should, because if you had a different mindset, like I had a different mindset, like I'm going to school because I know the next step is going to is going to require me to be somebody else, and it's going to require a little bit more work. So I better practice in this time period to get some stuff done. Yes, I still procrastinate. Yes, I still do some things that I don't know if you even get over procrastination, but if it's important enough,
you'll make it happen.
You got to make it happen.
Yeah.
But it's not important for them. I'm talking to 10th grade girls, 10th grade boys, 10th, 11th. I'm talking to all of them, and they have the same mentality. And I'm like, it's not going to work. You're not. You're going to be right back in your same city doing the same stuff these people that I pick up in Uber is doing.
Well, I mean, for that mindset, you have to understand that most of these cats now that are in high school are still live with their mom and dad.
Yeah.
Reality doesn't hit you until you have to stand on your own 2 feet. And unfortunately, if you have people that care or can guide you along and tell you certain things and aspects of life, then you're winning the game. Now, whether you take those advices or take those mentions and apply it, that's technically on you. But if you just, listen to your uncle, and your uncle's constantly telling you, hey, you got to do this, this, and this, And that's the only thing he tells you. Yeah, you guys have conversations and stuff, but it's, at the end of the day, he's like this, and this. That's repetitive. That means he's trying to get it in your head. This, and this. He's not hating. He's not trying to tell you what to do. He's telling you that this, and this plus this plus this plus this. If anybody cares enough for you, they should be wanting you to go past them. Yeah. And that's why I'm not a gatekeeper. So I want people to be successful. I want people to be happy, because the more happy people that I'm around, the less stress I'll be.
Well, the more successful you are, the more happy you're gonna be.
Yeah,
is the simplest thing that I can say.
I'm still gonna do my plan, but if I'm taking time to be like, hey, this, and this, either I've tried it and I failed and I know it doesn't work, or I tried it and then, like I tell people, like if you ask me advice, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. But this is my mentality, and I promise at the end of the conversation, I say, this is what I would do. This is not necessarily something that you need to do. You need to put your own twist on it, because this is the world you're living in. I lived in this world.
Yeah.
So when I was doing what you're going through, it was super different.
Yeah.
Now you have all these options. It should be super easy, but it is not. A lot of things have to do with your mentality.
Yeah, and that's cultivated by your parents too, and not just because those are the most influential people in your lives.
Yeah,
for most of your lives, right? Especially early. They say from age 0 to 7, first 7 years of your life is when you are influenced the most, and that's who you really are, and and who's the most influential person in that 7 years? Your parents.
Yeah.
So
your parents, your grandparents.
But if you're not listening to them, like there's a viral clip going around now of this guy. He was a former pro athlete. I don't even know who he was, but he's talking to his son on their podcast about why don't you listen to me? I want better for you, and I want this and that, and he's getting pushback from his kid, not in the clip, but just in general.
Life
and at some point it's automatically on the parents to follow through with holding the standard past what society says, past what they teachers say, because and then if you throw athletes into the mix, that's kind of a different scenario, because a lot of athletes try to push it on their kids, and they don't really like, they trying to live vicariously through it. So that's another aspect. But just being a parent in general, if you are giving instruction to your child and that child is pushing back or doesn't want to do it or whatever, yeah, they should have some leeway. But if they young enough, like under 10 or whatever, you just gotta force them to do.
This is what we're
gonna do. Yeah, because you ultimately have to know that it's going to turn out better for them. You're not forcing them to do anything bad, terrible. No. You're just forcing them to have some discipline beforehand. So if you have discipline beforehand, you don't have to get disciplined after. Yeah. Discipline before is a willingness and
that you might accept, you might not.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be a fight,
right? And then discipline after is a consequence.
Yeah.
You see, I have to be willing to be disciplined beforehand, but the consequence is going to be something negative. The discipline discipline afterwards is going to be a consequence, and we don't want to get you to that consequence. So parents have to be vigilant about holding a standard, and I think that's a general statement. That's how I would put it, is holding a standard, because if you don't hold that standard and you just let the kid do
Slide
whatever.
on by. Well, he's out my
Yeah.
he's out my class. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's just that's not gonna work long term.
No.
We talking about like, oh, they're not teaching me what I need to know to be successful, so I'm not gonna do anything. What? You know, like
Just turn off.
Yeah, I'm gonna just turn off, and
Yeah.
and ultimately it don't mean anything that I don't come to school every once in a while. It doesn't mean it's not important that I take the test seriously because I can go make it up afterwards. And this is not just the kid doing this. This is a whole system. It's a whole environment. It's a whole society doing this to our kids. And you like it's a dangerous road that we're going down, and we really gonna be struggling because we're in that weak people create bad times
Well,
era.
that's very true, and that goes back to participation ribbons.
Yeah,
I didn't have that growing up.
Yeah,
you lost.
We was getting city titles in 5th and 6th grade and stuff.
So I mean, it's just the mentality, and I think a lot of things happen. Like, say you go through life, you didn't like how things turned out for yourself. So if you have that kind of communication to try and pull on, there was a lot of kids that wasn't winners when they were growing up. So there they turned into adults, and they was like, oh no, you participated. This because that's what they wanted to happen when they was young. That doesn't develop you into the person that you're gonna be. Because Michael Jordan got cut in high school. You see where he is now? People are spending half $1,000 on. I'm not. I'm looking at him.
But that goes back to this.
It's all about your mentality,
and it goes back to our topic for today is the failing to succeed, and Michael Jordan failed, and he knew he could succeed, but it was the failure in playing his older brother every day.
Yeah,
like he knew he was good, so he didn't quit when he had a setback. A setback is he didn't get picked up for his sophomore basketball team.
Yeah.
That's the failure that you have to go through, and it's either gonna take you. Yeah,
or you're just gonna be like,
and you're gonna accept it.
I'm gonna be a grocery
But
shopper for the rest of my life.
mentality that I call it's not my mindset. It's a mentality. So the Mamba mentality, the Jordan mentality, is what I call it. And then the mentality is I won't lose. And if you get to that point where you say you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the education, you have the skill set, and I think I said skill set, skills, knowledge, education.
You put in the work,
and you put in the work without complaining because you know that this is a part of the practice. The what's that called? The organized failure.
Yeah.
Because you gotta if you're not planning out your life, that organized failure is not gonna work. You have to be okay with the organized failure. I was okay with people not giving me the positions that I wanted. It was okay. Like I was like, okay, I'm still go in and put in work.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna still
It
didn't stop me, but it did develop my mentality, the I won't lose mentality that like, oh, I'm putting in all this work. So when I do get to that point where I can demand, I'm going to demand or nothing. Like I'm not putting it. I can say no to stuff now. I can say I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And people look at me like, oh, he's too this and that. And I'm like, no, I put in all this work. You didn't put in all this work. I deserve to get paid for this.
Don't try to short me.
Don't try to short me for all this work. I've been working for 22 years, 23 years, and I still work 70 plus here now. So you trying to tell me that I can't say no to you? you crazy? Yeah. I usually say yes, but when I know the mentality, if I got something to do or whatever, but
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Or if I just don't want to do it now, I don't have to because
you set yourself up for those options.
Yeah. And wealthy people have options, poor people don't.
No.
And that's another topic for another day. You got anything, last words to say, man?
I do. I have a couple of statements. My late uncle, we used to always leave and say, I catch you on the mountaintop. Basically, an aspect of what he just said, just shorter forms. See you on the mountaintop. It means that you're still going all the way. You're all the way up. Be committed to excellence and make sure that you want to succeed or you will perish in that type of domain. And that's all I have to say.
Thanks for watching. Let us know what you want our. Let us know about the review we left for our brunch experience today. We're gonna hit some more interesting stuff. This is just basic as we get started. This is our organized failure, our practice for the food review. But it's gonna be in this opportunity, this podcast.
With practice, we'll get better.
Yeah, because
we'll be number one in your hearts soon.
All right, we out.